Ever wonder how your small, seemingly insignificant money habits can snowball into a financial mess? Indeed, the cost of bad money habits stretches far beyond the immediate hit to your wallet. Over time, these small leaks in your financial ship can amass into a devastating storm of debt and financial instability. To put it into perspective, just consider the ubiquitous daily coffee purchase. A $4 latte might seem harmless, but when you tally it up over a year, it totals to a staggering $1,460. That's a significant chunk of change that could have been invested or saved, and it's not just the monetary cost that's concerning. Bad money habits can also lead to psychological effects such as stress and anxiety, as financial instability often weighs heavily on our minds. It's a vicious cycle that can feel impossible to break. As Benjamin Franklin once said, "Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship." Before you can break your bad money habits, you need to identify them first. We all have our financial Achilles heel. For some, it's the irresistible allure of the latest tech gadgets. For others, it's that daily gourmet coffee that slowly siphons away our savings. But what are the most common bad money habits, and how can you spot them in your own behavior? First, let's take a look at impulsive buying. This is when you make a purchase on a whim without considering whether you really need the item or if you can afford it. It's like a siren song that lures you towards the rocks of financial ruin. Next, there's the habit of not budgeting. This is akin to sailing in uncharted waters without a compass. You're not sure where your money is going, and you're often surprised when you run out of it. A lack of budgeting can lead to overspending and debt. Then there's the dangerous habit of ignoring bills. It's a bit like sticking your head in the sand, hoping that if you ignore them long enough, they'll disappear. But as we all know, ignoring a problem doesn't make it go away, it often makes it worse. So how can you identify these bad money habits in your own life? It starts with self-reflection. Take some time to think about your spending. Are you buying things you don't need or can't afford? Are you often surprised by how little money you have left at the end of the month? Are there bills that you're avoiding? Monitoring your spending can also help you to identify bad habits. Keep a record of all your purchases, no matter how small, for at least a month. Review it regularly and look for patterns. Are you spending more than you thought on dining out? Are there any unnecessary purchases you can cut back on? Remember, self-awareness is the first step towards change. As the renowned financial author Robert Kiyosaki once said, "Financial freedom is available to those who learn about it and work for it." And that journey starts with identifying your bad money habits. Once you've identified your bad money habits, it's time to create a budget. Now, the word budget may sound intimidating, but in essence, it's just a plan for your money. It's a financial map that guides you to your desired destination. And just like any good map, a budget needs to be accurate, realistic, and flexible. Think of your budget as a tool to help you take control of your financial life. It's not about restricting your spending or making you feel guilty about every dime you spend. Instead, it's about understanding where your money is going, so you can make conscious decisions about your spending, saving, and investing. Creating a budget is simple. It begins with tracking your income and expenses. You need to understand how much money you have coming in and where it's going out. Once you have a clear picture of your financial situation, you can start to shape your budget. First, list down all your sources of income. This could include your salary, side hustles, rental income, or any other sources of money. Then, list down all your expenses. Start with your fixed expenses like rent, utilities, and car payments, then move on to variable expenses such as groceries, entertainment, and clothing. After you've listed everything down, subtract your total expenses from your total income. If you end up with a positive number, congratulations. You're living within your means. If it's negative, don't worry. This is where the power of a budget comes in. You now have the information you need to make changes. You can cut back on certain expenses or find ways to increase your income. Remember, your budget is not set in stone. Life happens, and your budget needs to be flexible enough to accommodate changes. Review and adjust your budget regularly to keep it in line with your financial goals and lifestyle. In the words of Dave Ramsey, a popular financial author and speaker, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. So, let's start taking control of our money today. Let's create a budget that works for us, not against us. Impulse buying is one of the most common bad money habits. It's that moment when you're at the checkout and you spot a pack of gum or a shiny new gadget, and before you know it, it's in your cart. Or when you're scrolling through a website and a pop-up ad convinces you that you absolutely need that pair of shoes, that book, or that kitchen gadget. Impulse buying is so common because it's easy. It's easy to justify a small purchase here and there. But those small purchases add up, and they can wreak havoc on your budget and your financial goals. So how can we resist the urge to make these unplanned purchases? One effective strategy is to give yourself a waiting period before making a non-essential purchase. This could be 24 hours, 3 days, or even a week. The point is to give yourself time to think about whether you really need the item, or if it's just a want. Often you'll find that the impulse to buy fades away after a while. Another tip is to avoid shopping when you're emotional. Whether you're feeling sad, stressed, or even overly excited, your emotions can cloud your judgment and lead you to make impulsive purchases. Try to do your shopping when you're in a calm, rational state of mind. Lastly, consider unsubscribing from marketing emails. These emails are designed to entice you into making purchases, often by creating a sense of urgency or scarcity. If you're not constantly being bombarded with these messages, you'll be less tempted to buy. Remember, it's not about depriving yourself of the things you enjoy, it's about making thoughtful, intentional decisions about how you spend your money. As Warren Buffett advises, don't save what is left after spending, spend what is left after saving. Make saving a priority, and let your spending fit into the budget that you've set for yourself. With a bit of discipline and some practical strategies, you can overcome impulse buying and build healthier money habits. An emergency fund is your safety net against financial disasters. So, what is an emergency fund? Simply put, it is a stash of money set aside to cover the financial surprises life throws your way. These unexpected events can be stressful and costly. Here's where your emergency fund comes in. Think about those times when your car broke down, or a sudden health issue came up, or even when a global pandemic hit, leading to job losses and reduced income. These are all perfect examples of when an emergency fund can come in handy. Having one provides a sense of security because it gives you the financial freedom to tackle life's uncertainties without falling into debt. It's the buffer between you and high-interest debt when unexpected costs arise. Now you may be wondering, how do I build an emergency fund? The answer is simpler than you might think. Start small. Aim to save at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. It's not something you'll achieve overnight, but every little bit helps. A good way to start is by saving a certain percentage of your income regularly. It could be 5%, 10%, or whatever works best for you. The key is consistency. Make your contributions automatic if possible so you won't even have to think about it. And before you know it, you'll have a sizable emergency fund. Remember, this fund is for emergencies only. That means you shouldn't dip into it unless you absolutely have to. It's not for vacations, shopping sprees, or other non-essentials. It's there to provide financial security and peace of mind. Building an emergency fund isn't always easy, but it's definitely worth it. It's one of the most important steps you can take towards financial independence and stability. As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The same applies to starting your emergency fund. So start planting your financial tree today. You'll thank yourself later. To break bad money habits, you need to identify them, create a budget, resist impulse buying, and build an emergency fund. This is the crux of our discussion today. Let's quickly revisit. First, we identified our bad money habits. Are you spending too much on dining out, or do you have a penchant for expensive shoes? Pinpointing these habits is the first step towards financial stability. Next, we learned about the power of a budget. A budget is more than just numbers on a page. It's a tool that can help you regain control over your finances and pave the way for financial freedom. Then we tackled impulse buying, a quicksand for many. By resisting the urge to make unnecessary purchases, we can significantly improve our financial health. Lastly, we emphasize the importance of building an emergency fund. Life can be unpredictable, and having a safety net can make all the difference. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Start your journey towards financial freedom today.